Hi you guys, welcome back. My name is Emma. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. This week is not going to be something super exciting for many people, but I wanted to pin something onto my dashboard that will hopefully be a good resource for people who are maybe new to yoga or have found my channel and want to do all these funky things but don't really have a basis for a vinyasa, which is the main style that I like to teach. So I'm just going to be kind of going over how to correctly do a Chaturanga, basic Sun Salutation A and Sun Salutation B as I would teach them or as I know them. I know there's lots of different variations depending on the school of yoga that you learn through. So one of the things that really confused me when I started my yoga practice was teachers say Sun B, and some teachers would teach it really differently than others. But like a Hatha yoga Sun Salutation is different than an Ashtanga yoga Sun Salutation. So they're similar, but I'm just going to teach that a very basic version. And so hopefully if you found my channel and you want to do some of these intermediate or advanced classes that move a little bit quicker, you won't get so caught up on the vinyasas, which are a big portion of class. So with that being said, I always like to make sure our wrists and our spine is warmed up. So if you have a few moments, just clasp your hands together and roll out your wrists. And then we'll take a seat and bring the hands onto the knees. As you inhale, arch your back, think cow pose, bring your chin up. Exhale, chin to your chest, round your back. Inhale, look up, shoulder blades together, and exhale, round. Inhale, and exhale. Let's do one more. We'll come back to neutral, reach both arms up. Bring your right hand to your left knee, twist to the left. Left hand behind you, root through the sitting bones, lengthen your spine. Inhale, both arms up, and we'll switch. Left hand to your right knee, right hand behind you. Twist to the right. 3, 2, 1. Unwind. All right, so we're going to get started with a Sun Salutation A. The first one will be moving a bit slower so I can break down the actual vinyasa for you. So vinyasa means one breath, one movement, translated very simply. So it's also a style of yoga. You'll often see if you go to a studio class, it's probably the most searched class on YouTube is a vinyasa flow. It just means that you're moving with the pace of your breath. It can also refer to this series of movements, which would be a high plank to a low plank, Chaturanga. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog, and exhale to downward facing dog. That would be your typical vinyasa or flow as a lot of teachers might call it, depending where about you are practicing. So for a typical Sun Salutation A, Surya Namaskar A, we stand at the top of the mat. Active Tadasana, feet together, squeeze your inner thighs, arms are active by your side. Palms can face forward or in, but make sure those fingers are active and the shoulders roll down your spine. First pose, Tadasana, mountain pose. Now you're not just relaxed here, sticking your butt out or flaring your ribs out. Your tailbone's tucked, squeeze your core, you're still in a pose. On your next inhale, reach your arms up, either forward and up or out and up. Urdhva Hastasana, press your palms together overhead, upward salute. Exhale, hinge at your hips, come all the way down, fold, Uttanasana. You always have the option to bend your knees here. It's better to keep your back flat. Inhale, lift your chest. You can either keep your hands on the mat, preferred. If you need, float your hands to your shins. This is halfway lift or Ardha Uttanasana, gentle tuck of your chin. On your exhale, you fold, plant your hands. Use that same exhale to step your feet back to a plank. Since this is a modified Chaturanga, we take an extra round of breath. On your inhale, shift your weight forward. The shoulders are past the wrists now. Drop your knees, but still keep your hips in one line. So your butt's not sticking out, it's still tucked. The shoulders, hips, and knees are in one line, and you untuck your toes. Hug your arms into your body. The elbows go back as you lower your chest and chin. Now your butt sticks up a little bit. The tailbone is lifting. This is a modified Chaturanga. On your next inhale, press your pubic bone down. Curl your chest forward, cobra pose. Notice my shoulders aren't hugged up to the ears. They're rolled back and down the spine. The sternum comes forward. Gentle tuck of your chin. Press your hips back a little bit, tuck your toes, lift your hips up, downward facing dog. You can always shorten the stance here. This is Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Imagine splitting your mat in half. The hands actively press forward, press your shins and your thighs back, squeeze the thigh muscles onto the bone. Lengthen your arms, think more space between the shoulders. Relaxed gaze between your feet or up towards your belly button, wherever there's less tension on your neck. On your inhale, you'll lift your heels and bend your knees. Step 1 foot at a time to the top of your mat. Your big toes touch. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Press into your feet, rise all the way up. Ardha, just kidding, Urdhva Hastasana. Bring your hands back down to your heart, and Tadasana, mountain pose. So you can kind of see it comes full circle. We do a lot of the same poses. So that was a modified vinyasa. I'll take you through a regular one and then one more kind of at a little bit of a quicker pace. Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, arms up, reach up. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, palm the mat and step back to a high plank. Now, for the sake of explaining this, I obviously need to take another breath, but usually you'll use that same exhale that you did to step back to also come high on your toes and shift forward. Bend your elbows back and lower halfway. Make sure the elbows pause at 90 degrees. From here, you untuck your toes. As you begin to learn this, you can do one at a time, but as you get better, you'll try to press your feet back, untuck the toes, and come to the tops of the feet for upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. If this is uncomfy with the thighs floating off the mat, bring the thighs down for cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Toes tuck, downward facing dog. Send your hips up and back. So we're always meeting in this down dog position. You can use it as a reset. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward, step 1 foot at a time to the top. Inhale, Ardha, halfway. Exhale, folding. Rise all the way up, reach your arms. Press those palms together and bring them down by your side. All right, so a few key points is basically the Chaturanga is where it gets the hardest to explain. So the first step is shifting your weight forward and dropping your knees, taking a modified Chaturanga, not worrying about up dog, just going into cobra with your thighs on the mat. The second step would be from a plank, lower halfway, untuck your feet one at a time, and then keep your thighs off the mat for upward facing dog. Roll over your toes to downward facing dog. As that starts to get more comfortable with you, you can try where you're pushing your toes back and then flipping your feet at the same time. It's gonna feel a little unnatural and painful at the start. I had like, not scabs, but like the tops of my toes felt really weird and raw almost. But now, I mean, it just feels completely natural, no pain at all. I think that's with most things though. It's just a little uncomfy at first. You have to get used to it. So let's go through one more round of Sun Salutation A, Tadasana, start here. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up. Exhale, forward fold, come down. Inhale, halfway lift. You use your same exhale to step your feet back. So it's a long exhale. As that second foot steps back, you start to lower halfway. Gaze down, neutral spine. Press your toes back until you can bring the tops of the feet to the mat. Sternum forward, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Up dog. Roll over the toes, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. If you need to adjust your feet or your hands, feel free. Typically, in Ashtanga yoga, even Hatha yoga, you'll probably hold here about 5 breaths. Ujjayi breathing in and out through the nose. Find some contraction in the back of your throat. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward, step to the top of your mats. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, forward fold. Rise all the way up, reach your arms, and then bring your hands down to your heart and by your side. You'll also notice that a lot of students will do this naturally, or teachers will instruct that students can step or jump back. So that's a whole other progression that you can take when you're ready. For now, we're just practicing stepping the feet back and stepping the feet forward. Until you have the strength to do your regular Chaturanga, not modified Chaturanga, regular Chaturanga, I don't want to encourage you to jump your feet back. When you jump back, most people tend to land in a high plank. Now this is jamming the shoulder into the shoulder joint. That's exactly what we don't want. So you need to have already enough body awareness and enough strength that you can plant your hands and jump back already into your low Chaturanga. So as you jump back, you'll need to bend your elbows and land in that 90-degree position. Jumping forward is a little bit more simple. Ideally, you're doing it with a lot of control, almost floating your feet to the top of the mat, but there is less damage that you can do here versus jumping back where you're really, it's not good on the shoulder. If you jump forward and you just don't jump far enough, that's fine. You can just walk the rest of the way up. But ideally, you would like to make it a little bit more controlled, getting a little bit closer to the top of the mat. So that is a brief explanation of Chaturanga, how you might see it in Sun Salutation A. Just remember the progression. Modified Chaturanga, stepping back, and then we're going to stop there. Flipping the toes one at a time, and then gradually doing both toes at once. All right? You'll use a lot of those same moves in Sun Salutation B, so I'll briefly go over that as well. You start in the same position, Tadasana, mountain pose, top of the mat. This time, bend your knees. Imagine your fingertips could brush the mat, or maybe you even do touch the mat, and then reach your arms up, Utkatasana, chair pose, or fierce pose. Shift the knees back, tuck the tailbone a little. On your exhale, forward fold, straight legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten. Palm the mat, step back. Use that exhale to lower Chaturanga. Inhale, roll over the toes, upward facing dog. Exhale, you squeeze your core, kind of scoot the feet in, and then roll over your toes at once to downward facing dog. Now, I prefer to teach this the Ashtanga way without lifting your leg first, because that's just using momentum and you might tweak your back a little bit. So that's how I'm going to lead you through it here, but sometimes you'll also lift your leg up first before you step. As you can imagine, that will give you a lot more momentum to step. However, I think it's better form and you're using your muscles more if you just inhale in down dog. Exhale, step your right foot to your right thumb. Pivot your left heel down. Keep a bend in your right knee as you rise. Virabhadrasana, warrior one. Hip square to the front. You use your inhale to come up and your exhale to go back down. High on the left toes, step your right foot back, Chaturanga. Inhale up, exhale down. So as you step that foot back, once it touches the mat, you're already in your low Chaturanga. You don't want to take that extra round of breath. Take an inhale, prepare. Exhale, step your left foot to your left thumb, pivot your right heel down. Inhale, rise, both arms up. You use your exhale to lower. It's a long exhale because you also have to step your left foot back and land in your low Chaturanga. Roll over your toes, inhale up, exhale, downward facing dog. Now again, you always have the option, modified Chaturanga, in which case you step back, take another round of breath. You would hold here for 5 long Ujjayi breaths, and after that, inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward, step or maybe jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, fold. Last pose, you bend your knees, reach your arms up, chair. Straight legs, arms by your side. Tadasana, mountain pose. I hope that makes sense to you. Once you get Sun Salutation A down, Sun B makes a little bit more sense. They are called Surya, which means sun, Namaskara, which means a greeting or salutation. If you think namaste, that is a greeting or a closing, something you would say to someone. It sounds pretty similar to Namaskar. So sun, salutation, there's A and B. B is with warrior one. I really hope this makes sense and helps clear up any questions that you might have regarding a vinyasa or sun salutations. We do a lot of these throughout my classes and any vinyasa class you might take. You'll also see different variations, keep in mind, or things added in, such as side bending at the top, maybe you're lifting a leg before you step to warrior one, or maybe your teacher's adding in some extra poses. Just remember there's many different schools of yoga, so if it's something unfamiliar, it doesn't necessarily mean you are wrong or they are wrong, it might just be different. I hope you found this video instructional and helpful. If you would like more content like this, please let me know in the comments, or if you just prefer, normal yoga classes, that's cool too. I just thought I'd hop on and explain something a little bit different. So let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.